George Lucas, one of my absolute favorite filmmakers, once said that sound is 50% of the movie-going experience. This is not only true for movies, but I'd argue for many other mediums, specifically video games. And Halo is obviously runner-up for having some of the best music in video game history. The soundtracks by Michael Salvatori and Marty O'Donnell are absolutely incredible and gave Halo a signature sound for the longest time. One that only could have been produced by them and their ideas for what an ancient, epic, and mysterious soundtrack could sound like. Halo Combat Evolved set the precedent for all future soundtracks for Halo. The feeling of Halo's music and a lot of the specific leitmotifs all come from this soundtrack. Here are some of my favorite tracks. That was a few tracks from Halo Combat Evolved. But did you notice the one that wasn't? Halo Combat Evolved and its sequel, Halo 2, would both feature very similar soundtracks, though in some instances they would also differ in style. Halo 2 would feature more of a rock sound. There would be collaborations with Incubus, Breaking Benjamin, Steve Vai, and John Mayer. But what is the soundtrack without those collaborations? Without Steve Vai shredding in the studio? Well, whatever else Michael and Marty were doing, which forms all of Halo Combat Evolved's soundtrack and the majority of Halo 2's. I'm not a composer, and I'm not the most musically inclined, but I can tell there's a style in these early games that hasn't been replicated since. I think it has something to do with what the artists had access to. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is what they had to work with in these two games. A choir, maybe a small orchestra, and then a bunch of equipment. Specifically, they would utilize MIDIs, or musical instrument digital interfaces. Now, why do I talk about this specifically? Well, listening to the music that's in Combat Evolved, I'm almost certain that most of the instruments you're hearing are digital, and those sounds come from very specific sound libraries on very specific pieces of equipment that the composers used. The new developer working on games for the Halo series, called Halo Studios, is rumored to be creating a remake of Halo Combat Evolved. It's the worst kept secret of all time. It's basically confirmed at this point. Since this video is coming out before its reveal and release, I have no idea what it looks like, and specifically, I have no idea who their composer will be. I doubt they are going to hire Michael and Marty again, so who would they hire? What specific direction are they going to go for? Well, there seems to be two options. One, they use the original soundtrack. Maybe they could use what's there since it sounds great, or they could remaster it. The second option though, what I'll be focusing on throughout this video, is to hire a completely new composer or a group of composers. If they are going for option 2, I know just the person they could hire. Neo Te Aika, or however you say his name, is someone you've probably heard of if you've been in the Halo space, specifically the modding community for the Master Chief Collection. If not, I'll try my best to explain who this guy is. Neo Te Aika is a freelance artist from New Zealand who, in my honest opinion, is some messiah who came down from the heavens and presented his understanding of Halo sound to us mortals. He's worked on a bunch of community projects, such as CE Plus and Halo 2 Uncut. He's worked with the Dig Site team on many of their mods, including Crash Site and Alpha Moon. However, there is one project that I think is most appropriate to talk about in regards to my argument in this video. Do you remember the tracks I showed you a bit ago? Well, one of them was made by him. Here's a comparison between the original track and his version. It's scary how similar it is. His track comes from a massive undertaking titled Odyssey. Now, what is Odyssey? Here's a description from the man himself. a personal exploration into the music of Halo, fully documenting and reconstructing the soundtracks of the original audio software/hardware, having more recently expanded to include Myth and Oni. Odyssey includes myself, Nick Mitchell, and Owen Spence as a long-term collaborative production. The many albums made for this massive project feature some songs with an uncanny resemblance to the original tracks from Comet Evolved, and that's because Neo Te Aika and the people he worked with all painstakingly set out to recreate them using the original equipment and sound libraries that Marty and Michael used all those years ago. It's insane stuff. As you can tell, I'm not an audio guy, so I couldn't even begin to comprehend the amount of research and tedious work this must have taken. Here's more comparisons just to show you what I'm talking about. Now, this is all just the recreated tracks. I haven't even shown you all his more original tracks. These ones just have that signature Halo sound that is so hard to articulate with words. I guess I feel this way because they're using the same sound libraries, or Neo has a good ear for the feeling Halo's music gives off. Or maybe I'm just being stupid, I don't know. But here's a few examples of some tracks that aren't recreating pre-existing ones.
cut into the heart of this infestation, retrieve the icon, and burn any flood that stand in our way.
I'm on my way.
Get ready! What
So why do I advocate for Neo Te Aika specifically? Can't you just argue that Halo Studios can get their own in-house composer, or a group of composers that can recreate Halo sound? After all, they would surely have access to all the original equipment that Michael and Marty used. Admittedly, this video would not be as interesting if it was just me asking for them to use the original sound libraries. I feel like if I were talking about that subject, I just have to talk about Neo. He and his collaborators have done some insane work, recapturing the feel of Halo's music, if those words mean anything to you. The biggest reason I'd advocate for him to be at least involved in this type of project, if he really wanted, would be to improve relations between the community and the newly formed Halo Studios. I'm sure every Halo fan at this point is aware of the drama surrounding the dig site team and the massive leaks that they weren't actually involved in. A lot came out of that situation, but I'm not qualified to talk about any of it. There are many videos surrounding the topic that do a much better job at explaining the whole debacle. It is my belief that if such prevalent and hardworking members of the community, like Neo Te Aika, are allowed to work on a project like a remake of the first Halo game, wonders would be done for relations between this new studio and us, the fans. It would show a lot of goodwill towards the community, and that Halo Studios truly cares about making a remake that aims to recapture the style and feeling of the original game. I don't think any of this would happen, but I feel like I just had to get my piece out there, to maybe spur some discussion in the community, if anyone in the community is even watching this. Neo Te Aika is a talented artist who has mastered the sound of Halo. Him and his collaborators have done some great research, and their input would be valuable to Halo Studios. If these fans and their research were to be mixed with more professional composers that Halo Studios would be hiring, we would be in for a great soundtrack. One that would both be identical to the original, while also expanding upon it seamlessly, with very similar early 2000s sounding tracks. To me, the topic of the Halo remake goes farther than the music. Everything matters to me. The metal hard aesthetic that was so prevalent in the UI and promotional material, the alien atmosphere and deep blues and purples of everything. I don't know if the remake will aim to recapture all of it, but the music and the sound libraries that were used to create them are still a critical element. But I guess we'll see how it goes. Again, I'll say this, I'm not a musician or an audio engineer, or anything of that sort, but I am a weird Halo fan with a really weird opinion, and it is my opinion that Neo Te Aika and whoever else he works with should be the composers of the remake of Halo Combat Evolved. If you want someone who has a keen understanding of Halo's sound, and you are setting out to create a remake of Halo Combat Evolved that aims to replicate the style and presentation that the original game had, Neo Te Aika, or however you say his name, is the best pick to make the music for that type of project. So, this is my first ever Halo-related video essay. If I did a good job, let me know. If I absolutely sucked at getting my message across, also let me know. If I ever make another video essay, I would like that one to be better than the last, so any criticism is greatly appreciated. I'll see you later.